Today I'm going to do a quick demonstration of my final project, the Choate Schedule Maker. So this is my Xcode project, and over the course of this term we've learned a lot of different topics. I've tried my best to incorporate all of them into this project. So I have multiple views, UI buttons, UI switches, text fields. I got multiple views connected with segs. Uh, there's a segmented control over here, and all of these view controllers have constraints. So just a brief overview of this app. The point of this app is to create a schedule for the user to allow the user to easily organize their schedule. And I initially wanted to also incorporate local notifications, but after spending a few hours trying to figure that out, I realized that I couldn't implement it with the short time that I had left. So the project itself was built on a multi-view project that I finished before, but for this project I made the layout a little more intuitive, the app itself a little more easy to use, as well as adding a few more pages or a few more view controllers. So I'll just do a quick demonstration of the app itself. About gives a little background information about the app. Instructions gives just a few instructions. So if I hit start, I get to start. So these are the corresponding blocks for the classes. I type the class names here, and I can turn the switches on or off. An update button just updates all the information. So there's different pages. So these are sport names, and these are the times. And I can turn these on and off too. Same with all of these. These buttons, you can change the dates depending on what they are. So I'll type in my schedule. So I don't have anything C block. U block, chemistry. Cool. So if I go to my schedule, all of these will be updated, and so this schedule is specialized for Choate. So these are the time periods, and each day is different. As you can see, Wednesday there's not as many classes, and so I can also add more. Like for instance, maybe during conference I have a writing or a tutor session. Let's say it's not really a club, but still. So and then during conference, it'll say tutor, and I can also change this to maybe it takes place from 6 to 7, and then from 6 to 7 tutor. It automatically switches, and um, you can also insert maybe let's say lacrosse from 3 to 5, and this inserts itself between the previous 6 to 7 tutor and the math. So you can probably do these for every single day. For example, I'll just pick a random one. 6 to 7 cross, and then it just be right here. Same with these you can turn on and off based on your whim, I guess. So I'm just gonna keep these on because I'm still using them. But when I come back to these after viewing the schedule, maybe I hit back. All of the information here is saved. Not only the class information, but the switches themselves. And the cool thing about the switch is that um, once they're turned off, so the user can no longer edit the information inside of them. It's just a small thing that I wanted to incorporate. So conference as well as times work for these. I can also do maybe Thursday from 3 to 5, 6 to 7. I got orchestra, and then sleep. So if I go here, it'll just say orchestra and then sleep. So optionals, now these are like specialized cases of certain classes that you may or may not have. So sophomore seminar, I have F block. So I'll hit update, and then hopefully soft sem, yep, right there. So it shows up, and I could always adjust the days too. Maybe I have it on Friday. So I'll go to Friday, soft SEM, and over here now you no longer have soft SEM. So the same thing with all the other ones, advisor meeting, maybe I have it C block. I can just turn these off, and all of these states are saved as well. So it's pretty cool. So update advisor meeting, there you go. So this app is completely functional. I think, at least in my opinion, it's pretty organized. There might be a lot of buttons, but it's easy to learn. I think it's very intuitive design, and you can always view your schedule with buttons back over here. So it's basically no errors. I spent a lot of time troubleshooting it, and so I'll just talk a little bit about the code itself, some of the problems that I faced. So obviously for each of these I have different view controllers, but one thing that you might not have known is that each of these required a separate variable, and each of these switches required two different variables. So as if that wasn't enough, I had to establish a lot of global variables, because as you can see over here, the information is saved, and saving the information required placing a lot of backup global variables in order to keep that information intact. So I think I've also incorporated table views, and as I mentioned before, I tried to incorporate local notifications, but I just didn't have the time for that. So this is just a few samples of my code. I think for a lot of these, at the end here, I found ways to kind of lessen the code that I needed to write by establishing a few functions, like Monday, Tuesday, Friday, not Wednesday, schedule maker. There's also wait, where it's optional, and optional takes in all these different arguments, and it just makes coding a little bit easier. I can also show this in maybe a different size, say iPhone 7 Plus. Just need to wait for it to load. So I think the challenges I faced were just writing the code itself. It was a little long, a little tough, but it wasn't too bad. Things I found insurmountable, just inserting local notifications, that was a little bit tough. Okay, so hopefully, oh, not yet, but there you go. Everything's just spaced out a little bit more. That's the only difference. So it's still usable. It still works, which is pretty nice. Of course, I have nothing over here because I haven't put in anything for classes, view, instructions, and about. So the takeaways from this project and this class, I think I've learned a lot of interesting things. Obviously, I've always wanted to learn Xcode, and I could never do that myself. I would never had enough motivation to do it. But I think I've learned a lot of new information, and this information is enough to um, pique my interest and allow me to learn further code if I wanted to, because I have enough background information. So I think one other thing is that I've learned that coding takes a lot of work. I've become a lot more appreciative of some of the apps that I use, because like this simple app, or it's not really simple, but a basic app required about like 15 hours of coding. So I think I've learned a lot over this term, and I really enjoy taking this course.